everybody, how's it going, and welcome back to another video about Assassin's Creed Empire. So yesterday we had a little bit of a discussion video where I just kind of talked for 20 minutes, because that's what you guys wanted and you voted for on Twitter. If you want to get involved in Twitter polls, and follow me on Twitter, link is in the description. But today what I'm going to do is a 10-minute discussion video with edits and appropriate gameplay and stuff like that, just to change it up a little bit. And today we're going to be talking about the multiplayer or co-op or, you know, online possibilities for Assassin's Creed Empire and how that could work. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. So multiplayer hasn't been in Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, like the competitive multiplayer. However, we did get co-op in Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, personally for me, on the basis of what we got and how much I enjoyed it, I far more enjoyed the competitive multiplayer of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood through to Assassin's Creed 4. I didn't really like the co-op too much in Unity. I love the idea of co-op, and I've wanted co-op in Assassin's Creed since way back in the Brotherhood days. But to me, it didn't deliver on what I'd hoped. It was very glitchy and broken. The servers didn't work half the time, and the missions were quite boring. It felt very bland. Now, I want to talk to you guys about these different possibilities. So I'm going to talk about the competitive multiplayer first, and then I'll go on to how co-op could work. So for the competitive multiplayer, we know exactly how that works in Assassin's Creed. We've had it from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to Black Flag. Now, I think in 3 and 4, the multiplayer kind of became stale. I don't think it was as good as it was in the previous iterations of the multiplayer, because I think we had more, there was more kind of integration with the story there, and I don't know what it was, but I definitely enjoyed the multiplayer in Brotherhood and Revelations far more than I did in 3 and 4. Now, that's not to say the multiplayer was bad. I just didn't enjoy it so much in 3 and 4. Maybe the community wasn't there. Maybe it was kind of, you know, Luma and Andy and all those kind of people that were in the community of multiplayer kind of left, and it kind of became a little bit more single player based. I don't know whether it was the disappointment of 3 or what it was, but something wasn't there that was with Brotherhood and Revelations. Now, speaking of that, that doesn't mean I don't want it to come back. I love the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed. I played the shit out of Brotherhood, played the shit out of Revelations, and I enjoyed the multiplayer so much. Now, in terms of it coming back, I think it would work really well in Empire. I think it's always good that the multiplayer could come back. Now, the only problem with this is, I've talked about it several times, is that bringing multiplayer into the equation means that takes more money, time, more people to work on than it does to just make a single player game. Now, we've had Unity, Rogue, Syndicate in the past since the multiplayer stopped, and personally, I think it's way too big of a risk after those games to put multiplayer in. Now, I know loads of people are going to be annoyed, like, oh, what the fuck, don't we want multiplayer for? Look, I'm not saying I don't want multiplayer. I'm saying, sensibly, it would make sense to not put multiplayer in Empire. Perhaps put it in the next game if you manage to make Empire good, because see, Assassin's Creed 2 was fantastic. They built off of the story of Ezio in Assassin's Creed 2 and gave us multiplayer in Brotherhood and Revelations because they already had a basis to work off of. But when you don't have anything and you're thinking, right, we need to create an entire new story, along with also including multiplayer, it adds more to the game, and you're like, shit, now I need to do more stuff. And it's like from a design standpoint, they have to do loads more to the game, and it's like, well, that's kind of taking away possibly from the single player. And I'm not saying it will, but it's very possible that adding multiplayer can take away from the single player experience. Now, for me and for a lot of people out there, Assassin's Creed is a solely single player game. We play it for the story, play it for the characters, and that's the kind of thing that we like to do. However, the multiplayer is a nice addition on top, and I don't really think the multiplayer being included is worth taking away from the single player experience. Now, saying that, there's a way that it could definitely work. So we know the Ezio collection is probably coming out soon. I'm sorry if by the time you're watching this there's already a trailer and announcement and we know about it, but as of right now, we know nothing other than the leaks we've got. Now, if the Ezio collection is coming out, there is a high chance that multiplayer will be included in that, like the Modern Warfare Remaster and like the Halo Master Chief collection. Now, I know multiplayer is integral to Call of Duty and to Halo, so it makes more sense to include it in those than it does to include it in an Assassin's Creed collection. However, I do think it was a massive part of that. It grew a lot of people in the community through the multiplayer, and I would love if they did include it in the Ezio trilogy. Now, if they were to include it in the Ezio trilogy remaster, that would mean it gives them a chance to show off the multiplayer, show what they've got, and then improve it based on that, kind of like a beta in a way. So they have time before the release of Empire to improve the multiplayer based on the feedback they get from the Ezio Collection's multiplayer. Now, I'm not saying this is something they will do, because I still do think they should leave it out of Empire and include it in the next game if they're going to do a trilogy with this same character. I think that would be a very good thing to do, but this is a way that they could include it, is if they have it in the Ezio trilogy collection, and then they take feedback from that and go, okay, so what, now how can we improve it for Empire? Now, I would love multiplayer in the Ezio collection. I think they could do it in a way that they could bring back loads of maps from Revelations and Brotherhood and incorporate maybe some new ones from 2. Put all the game modes together, make an awesome multiplayer for the Ezio collection. I'm not really bothered if they include it or not, but I do think it would be a really cool inclusion to visit that multiplayer again. Then again, for Empire, I think if they took feedback from that, then they could possibly make a good multiplayer. Don't really want them to do it, because then they've got something to fall back on. They're like, oh, the single player wasn't that good. Well, there's also multiplayer. But if they don't have it, the single player is all the game is writing. So they have to make a really good single player. And I honestly think they won't include multiplayer in this, but they might do it in the game after that, possibly along with co-op and things like that. Now, speaking of co-op in Assassin's Creed, Unity kind of did it very strangely, and it didn't work, and I didn't really enjoy it. I know a lot of people did, and that's cool. I enjoy it sometimes if I play with friends, but other than that, it's not really the most fun thing to do, even when you play with friends. Like, I can play like 1 or 2 games, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to stop, this is boring. But I think the way that it could work with the co-op is the way they're doing it in Watch Dogs 2. So if you look at Watch Dogs 2, they're integrating the co-op into the open world. So what you do is you sync with another player, and then you are in the open world together. You can go and do tasks and missions and side activities and races and mini games, and then you can also do co-op missions with your friend. And I think that's the way it should work. Have this open world where you and your friend can just free roam around, doing different side activities, doing your own thing, and then also doing co-op missions as well, if that's something that you want to do. But keep it separate from the player. Like, I don't like that everyone's Marcus Holloway, but you see them as someone else. Or like in Unity, everyone was Arno and you see them as someone else. Just keep the multiplayer separate, keep the co-op separate. Just have your own co-op character. That's it, done. That makes it way better than trying to integrate it into the single player story. It gives you way too many restrictions and limitations. So honestly, I just think what they should do with the co-op in Empire, if they're to introduce co-op, is to keep it completely separate from the single player. Very much what they did with the multiplayer features in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood through to 4, is you're playing as an Abstergo guy, right? And you're just playing online, you have these different characters. Maybe in the co-op you can create your own character, and then you can team up with either the Assassins or Templars faction, and that gives you opportunities in the open world, and you can kind of create your own little story. There's a little co-op story going on, stuff like that. Maybe that's a bit too much to ask, but I think that'd be my kind of ideal, is you create your own character, you go into the open world, and then you're there with a couple of other people, you can fuck about, kind of like GTA Online, and you can start up co-op missions, or you can start up competitive missions in the open world. You can buy new stuff for your character, and it kind of works as a separate economic open world to the single player. So you've got your separate open world, online, multiplayer, co-op system, then you've got the single player world. And they're two different things like GTA. GTA has GTA Online, where you have loads of shit to do, and then you have the single player where you got loads of shit to do. But they're both two completely separate things, completely separate stories, and that's what makes it work. And I think that would really work for Assassin's Creed if you have these two separate stories work well on their own, rather than trying to integrate them together. Like, I mean, it's completely unnecessary. You don't need to link the two together. You really, really don't. Now, in terms of co-op and multiplayer, both being in a game, I think that would only work if you had, like, the open world system. But I would love to have that, to integrate them both into an open world free roam system. So you come into a game with your friends, you can free roam in the open world, you can buy things, you can, have a separate economics to the main game, you can upgrade your character, you can, go do things with your friends, just fuck about. You can also, if you want to, you can go do co-op missions, or you can do competitive multiplayer if you feel like doing that, and it adds a whole new layer to Assassin's Creed, giving you that freedom and open aspect that we don't really have in the Unity co-op, because they don't really have that ability to kind of give you the openness that you kind of want, like the freeness, and it's kind of just do these co-op missions and that's kind of it. And it's very, very restrictive, I think, in that sense with Assassin's Creed Unity, and I think they should open it up with Empire, and to do that, I think they need to keep the single player and the multiplayer both separate. So thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button, because that'd be absolutely amazing. Comment down in the comment section below, let me know what you guys thought, and subscribe if you are new. Be sure to follow me on Twitter if you want to get in on those Twitter polls where you can decide the videos that I make in the future. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Assassin's Creed Empire wishlist. Should be a good one, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
Wolves kept tumbling down, raining fire from above. Great crowds charge over the hills, but the city's had enough. But if we turn and fight, does it almost feel like we will never fall? And if we unite, we can take this fight straight to their castle walls. How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist
I'm not even gonna lie, I left this tiny little bit here after the outro because I wanted to get the video to be over 10 minutes long so I could make more money off of it. So, you know, I just thought I mean, does that make me a tiny bit less scummy if I let you know that's why I did it? Or am I still just a fucking cunt? Oh, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care.